Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If this is the first time you're watching, my name is Tyler. I make videos about college, career, and Andrew Yang. So today I wanted to talk about my thoughts and reactions to Andrew Yang's performance at the 5th Democratic debate that happened earlier this week. And I mentioned in last week's video that the 5th debate, the November debate, is actually a pretty big deal just because for many this is the first time people are actually tuning in and really just thinking about the 2020 election. So it was definitely a really important thing for Andrew Yang to perform really well, and without further ado, let's get into my thoughts and reactions to his performance. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I did not catch the debate live, and in fact, the first thing I actually watched was literally the recap of everything that Andrew Yang said during the 5th debate. And while I was watching that, I didn't realize how little time he actually got to speak until like the video was over after 7 minutes. I'm like, wait, NBC, you did it again. On top of that, I think the questions that were asked were pretty bad in my opinion. It seemed like they were focusing on a lot of random stuff that I just, personally for me, I just didn't think was important. But with that, I still think Andrew Yang did the best he could to really get his point across while still being in like the confines of whatever question he was being asked. For example, in the first question that he was asked about terrorism, I loved how he spinned it and really made the focus on like technology and climate change and how these are the things that we should actually be worried about in terms of national security. Also, he was really funny, you know? He came across as a very likable guy and everyone seemed to like love him, and really he came across as the most natural candidate out there and the most like relaxing, composed while still, you know, like having like a agenda to get to. And of course, I have to talk about the "I'm sorry I beat your guy" soundbite. That was golden. And personally, I think this would go down in history as one of like the funniest like sound bites or moments that happened during a debate. And I'm hoping that this turns into a viral soundbite, just like "That Little Girl Was Me" that Kamala Harris did back in the first debate. But yeah, overall, I think his more likable portrayal and persona that he was exuding during this debate is much more effective than his, his stoic, "I'm gonna tell you the truth right now. Automation is gonna take away your job. This is why we need to have the freedom dividend, and this is exactly how we're gonna pay for it." Like, no, most people have access to internet these days, and if they really want to know like the logistical aspects of Andrew Yang's policies, then they can like look it up. And in my opinion, I feel like these debates are much more of like a popularity contest or like a likability contest, just because I feel like people would be more inclined to search up a candidate after the debate if they came across as someone they actually enjoyed hearing. And people would be like, yeah, I really like that Andrew Yang guy. He came across as really funny. I think I'm gonna search up his policies. But yeah, I'm really liking this like deadpan comedy approach that Yang was doing. And I honestly, I feel like part of it was because Yang was probably in his mind so jaded by the fact that, MSNBC was not calling on him. And he's like, all right, dude, like this is a joke. I'm just gonna have fun here. And I think it was a good move on his part. I'm gonna be completely honest here. When I first heard it, I didn't think it was like anything spectacular or like groundbreaking or like, and definitely not like this was the best closing statement of the night. Partly it's because I didn't hear anyone else's closing statement at the time. But then I realized like, hold up. Of course I'm gonna feel this way. I've been watching, Nelson. But then I realized like, hold up. Of course I feel this way. I've been watching Yang content for the past 6 months, so I'm basically watching this debate with Yang Gang tinted goggles, which, by the way, Yang 2020 campaign, if you're watching this, definitely something you should make. But when I put myself in the eyes of like a first-time viewer, then I start to get it. Like, wow, this is something that no one else said, and it's something that's probably in the back of my mind, and wow, it was a very well-delivered closing statement, and he came across as very confident, and I love how he expresses in a very tasteful way that like he's like a chosen one, like he doesn't want to be president, but he sees himself as the only person that is going to stand up and do what is right. And that was probably the strongest part of that closing statement, at least to me. Like, he resonated as someone whose best interest is in the people and has like no strings attached, With that said, that is pretty much With that said, that is pretty much it. But now I'm briefly gonna touch upon the whole MSNBC silencing Yang kind of thing. And basically, like, it's so obvious at this point, and you know, people are starting to catch on. Like, news outlets, Wolf Blitzer from CNN literally mentioned it during like his interview with Yang the other day. And quite frankly, I think this is gonna have an opposite effect to what MSNBC wants, just because how strong the Yang gang is and how vocal we are with everything that happens. While yes, it would be much better if Yang got more speaking time, obviously, it's kind of like choosing for MSNBC's perspective, like choosing the lesser of two evils. Like, do we try to silence him and have the Yang gang make a wry about it, or do we just give him like a fair speaking time? So either way, I think Andrew Yang is in a he's in a strong place, and I'm excited to see what happens in the near future and like what like the polling show and everything. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like down below and share if you want to support me. Hit subscribe if you want to see more videos about college career and Andrew Yang, and hit the bell to get these videos right to you. So with that said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.